I am getting particularly tired of seeing black men being kicked and black men them attempting to browbeat or punish or shame black men into doing something they cannot do, which is control their women, which is something that has not happened since we were bred here on these soils that we call North America. And after 200 or 300 years of not being able to control and most times not even influence our black women, with very rare occasions are we even able to influence our black women, I am getting tired of being browbeat or even hearing other brothers being browbeat into doing something that you know cannot be done. What am I talking about? Black men cannot fix this goddamn black community or black sector without the consent of the goddamn women. There, I said it. I don't care how you package it, how you preach it, how you push it, how you bend it, what stats you try to use, how much money, even though we know that black women control the purse strings in this society, or how you try to frame it. There is no way in hell in these United States that the few black men that we really do have are going to change this black community without the consent of their women. We cannot make them do anything, which is why it is a gynocracy. You don't rule it, you don't control it, you barely influence it. You can't even control your own goddamn children without her consent. Because if that was the case, the black men would have their boys doing a hell of a lot better. Black men would actually influence and have the men folk kicking ass and taking names to the greatest extent possible that you can in this particular country. And how far we can kick ass, that's not saying too much, because you got billionaires like Byron Allen that's getting his ass handed to him. He's fighting a whole goddamn system over buying something, okay? Providing a service. As an American, you got Chinese people that can come over and do a hell of a lot more than Byron Allen can being a fucking American. You get an immigrant that come over and have more rights to do things in this particular country than Byron Allen. He's a fucking billionaire. Just because he's black. Now you calling black men weak, punks, and all that kind of stuff, knowing that you're giving them a mission that they cannot possibly succeed with, because they have too many factors against them. It ain't just the black women. It ain't just the disarray of our culture. It ain't just the racism that exists in this country. It ain't the class system that exists in this country that keeps 90% of people suppressed, not the very least of our black men who are at the bottom, who are a public enemy number one. This is also a global system. And the way this global system works, the mechanics of this global system, that even the plutarchs, even the people, the managers cannot control it completely. They can guide it, they can manipulate it, but they can't control it, because really this whole system is really out of their hands because it's too complex. And basically the fundamentals are the fundamentals, which the United States and Great Britain and Western Europe is finding out that the fundamentals are the fundamentals because they can't control it. This is out of their control. And the actions of your woman, your particular woman, and all women in particular, are actually governed by the environment. And so while your woman, it appears to be cutting up with her spirit of independence, which she's always had, which is already embedded in her over 12 or 13 generations, which is something you can't dig out, especially against your will, especially against a system that promotes it. You also have the environment that's breeding the spirit of independence all over the world with all women. So you're not just fighting your woman or your cultural system, you're fighting your national system, you're fighting your international system, you're fighting a global structure that you cannot control, even if you had everybody. If you had all 16 million adult black men on one accord, you are not going to go up against 7 billion people. You are not going to go up against a structure of 320 million people. You're not going to go up against a structure of 170 million men or males in this particular country. You're only 10% of the males that are in this country. That's if you had everybody. If you get everybody on one accord, working in coordination, struggling against this system, it would be difficult at best. But when you have half your adult black males that are not non-viable, and most of the other half brainwashed, that you push through a system that you couldn't control, that you don't control, and then you're going to tell them that the remainder that is conscious, is woke, one, to convince all the black men to get on one accord, and two, push against a system that cannot be moved. Let's repeat this: cannot be moved. During a downturn, during a sea change, where the power that you could have had is much lessened. Are you kidding me? Now, normally, and probably right after this, I'm gonna put my black hat down and I'll calm down and I'll actually speak in normal terms. And basically, you know what? I'll shake your hands, I'll pat you on the back and say, brother, that's a good plan. Because I'm like the Oracle. I don't like giving bad news to good people. Because, brother, if you're inspired and you think you can go out there as one man and convince other brothers to make a difference, no matter how small, I encourage that. You can make small differences. You can make things better in small ways. But to change the structure of the dynamic between your woman and your man, it's not going to happen. Not in our lifetime. The divorce rate of all people all over the world is going up because of the modernized structure that we live in, of all people. The black divorce rate is damn near 80%. The cohabitation rate is probably the lowest of any group. Those are fundamental structural problems that you do not have the ability to fix. You don't educate your own children. You barely have your own businesses. You barely have, you have the lowest wealth of probably anybody other than Hispanic immigrants. Now, a small group of men can start to make it better. Repeat, can start to make it better. But guess what? Groups of men with wealth. Immense wealth. Immense wealth are having the same problem, not to the degree that we are, because we are less able to control it, but they're having problems. Most of MGTOWs are white. And a lot of those MGTOWs got money, contrary to popular belief. And they can't control the structure. They can't control their women. They can't control their schools. They got their boys committing fucking suicide because the structure of their families and their life are way out of control. And they're the ones in charge. There's the ones whose women are trained to be submissive, trained to be more cooperative, and actually are way more cooperative than ours. Because it's in their culture. It's in that woman's mind because they have an agreement with their women. But the thing is, they can't control the environment. And their women are slowly but surely starting to adopt this called independent mindset, which they can't stop or control. Look at Me Too. The white women, they can't even work with the white women because they're so afraid of them. And this is their structure. They don't have control of their own women. So expect us, the group of men, they're actually forced to the bottom with not one but 2 or 3 sets of shoes on their neck to rise up, take control of the environment, take control of the system, and force their women to actually get in line and do what the fuck they're supposed to. I agree with your hope. I agree with your optimism. What I don't agree with is your logic. I don't agree with your facts. I don't agree with your blueprint because you haven't proved anywhere under the same conditions where you can do this. Show me a case study anywhere. Show me a town. The closest you can show me. I do mean the closest you can show me is the Nation of Islam. And guess what? The Nation of Islam has consent of their women. Their women voluntarily subject themselves to the process, to that society. Their women are not forced to be in the Nation of Islam. They are not forced to submit to the structure and the wills of that society, or that micro society, because there ain't that many of them. So basically all the men have to do is police the rules that are already there, because the women are already submitted to it. But I don't see that here. And I've actually asked women point blank, are you prepared to submit to your male authority? I've asked them point blank. I get crickets. No, they're not. Or, oh, not really, unless you prove that you can lead me, that you can prove blah, 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 which we all know is bullshit. Because if that was the case, then most of these guys, the top level guys, wouldn't be complaining about the same thing that we complain about. So over the last week, man, I am getting tired of dudes talking this bullshit about forcing black women to do something, forcing his baby mama to do something, forcing his wife to do something in his household. Now, there are a few that have demonstrated it, a very few, but everybody, for the most part, know that that's not going to work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be complaining about the goddamn women in the first place. There'd be no complaints about black women. And they act like black men aren't raised by black women, don't live in black households, don't live in black neighborhoods, don't deal with black women, period. Everybody knows that's bullshit. Even the black women knows that's bullshit. Because as they're saying that they're willing to compromise or cooperate, as soon as you say submit, guess what happens? They turn their head, they go, and the neck, all of a sudden the neck starts going. Why? Because they believe that they're in control. They believe that they're in control of that man. They run the relationship, not the other way around. You look at Barack Obama, who reached the highest for a chocolate-looking man, for a black-looking man. Even a black-looking man that was raised by a white woman. He was not really thoroughly respected by his wife because she thought that she was better than him. She thought that she's in control of the relationship. You might do your job. You might be president of the fucking United States, but guess what? As far as this relationship, I'm better than you. I was just looking at Gilliam, who ran for governor of Florida. Listen to his wife being interviewed by a news station in Florida. Interviewed the one candidate, Hispanic candidate, that actually won governor, and Gilliam, the black candidate. They actually interviewed the wives. When they asked him about the home life, you could see the sister come out in that I taught him. He washes dishes, he does hair. I taught him how I taught him how to do my daughter's hair. I'm not saying that brothers can't do the daughter's hair, but doing the daughter's hair, doing the woman's hair is a submissive role. Doing the dishes, regardless of what you think about, is a submissive role. Now, brothers can do without the help out of their own volition. I'm not saying anything about the man's manhood one way or that, because he ran for governor. So he is a man. He is a manly man to actually go into the public arena and actually go in and actually try to convince people to vote for you. 20 million people to vote for you in the state of Florida, in the South. You got to be accomplished. You got to be strong. I'm not saying that he isn't. But his wife, the way his wife thought of him, the way you can tell by her attitude is that she is not submissive. She is equal or better than he is in her mind. She is not submissive to him. And these are not low-level dudes, okay? These are not Pookies and Ray Rays that we like to talk about. So trying to get on dudes about taking control of their women, taking control of their families, stop giving me that bullshit, man. Be honest. What you're really asking these dudes is to submit to female authority. Put the yoke back on. Deal with the chick as she is. Because you know you're not going to have control of your family. The thing is, you need to go back to your female boss, your female overseer, and do your job. Because at the end of the day, what they're really telling you is they need you to do your job. And the society will not function without you doing your job. And if you decide to leave, basically what? There's nobody there to do the job. Basically, the community as we know it is over. So fuck what the women say. Fuck that you have to submit to them. Because really, that's all it really is. You got to go back and submit and put back on the yoke and actually work for that woman and that family again. Doesn't matter about your own freedom. Doesn't matter about your own happiness. Fuck all that. We know you ain't going to be happy. We know that you're going to put up with her bullshit. We know that you're going to have to submit to female authority because it is a gynocracy, and that's not going to change. You're not going to overthrow that. So you have to be willing to go back into bondage and do the job. At least tell them that.